Okay, so if you've been following along in the previous videos, we're making this mug effectively, and what we've done so far, if you've been following the first two, is you've created the actual revolve of the mug and shelled out the shape to give us this kind of hollowed out mug shape. And in the second video, what we've done is we worked on drawing this path. Okay, so the point of the path is to make obviously the handle, and the handle here is made using a tool called sweep. Okay, now I'm just going to go back to my completed mug here, and we can see what the sweep looks like is actually this shape here. So it's this part of the handle here is a sweep. Now the sweep, unlike a revolve for example, or an extrusion as we've done in previous tutorials, is made up of two things. It's made up of a path, which we done in the last video, which is this directional line effectively, and it's made up of a profile. So a profile you would have done if you use an extrusion, for example, in the past. You even use a profile when you're revolving for the first part. But in this case, our path is very simple. It is simply a rectangular shape like this, okay? And there we can see the dimensions are 12 and 3 millimeters. So what this is effectively is I've taken measurements from the mug just for this top part of the handle here, and basically we're sweeping that square shape around the outside. Now you might look at this and think, well, why haven't I created this little rounded shape? And that's because when I've produced the sweep, as you can see in the function on the completed item here, the sweep is like this, and then what we're going to do later on in the process is to add fillets to it to kind of shape the sweep and kind of make it transition into the mug a little bit better. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is try and produce the second part of the sweep. So we've got the path drawing, we're going to try and draw the profile, okay, that we're going to sweep across. Okay, so what we've got to do is we've got to place a profile that's going to be going along this part of the sketch, along this plane. So it's going to be on in line with the XY plane here, but it's going to start at that point there, so halfway across from where the mug is. Okay, so what we're firstly going to do is create an offset plane. We're going to offset from the XY plane there, and we're going a distance not quite to the edge, just 1.5 millimeters in. So if we look from the top view, you can see as we move this out, this offset out, let's just type it in like this, it moves out. So that's the extent, because we know that distance is 40 millimeters to the edge. We're just going to move it in by 1.5 millimeters. Okay, so that makes that 38.5 millimeters, and then we should have a plane that's just dead set in line with our sketch that we started off inside the mug. So I'm going to just tick the box there, and we're going to continue on with that plane. So you can see we're just cutting straight through the middle of the mug there, and it should be in line with the start of that line that we produced down the bottom. Okay, so on this sketch, on this plane, we're now going to create a new 2D sketch. So I'm selecting the plane like this, if it's going to allow me to do this like that. Just wait till it's highlighted and then move on to this. Now what I'm going to do, like before, I'm going to slice the graphics, and it will just take a little bit off the edge of the cup. So if we look from the top, you see it's just sliced it off. We can see we're halfway through the wall thickness of the mug there, and we're going to draw our profile in line with exactly at one point where the end of the path is, or we could do it the other end, the start of the path at the top. I'm going to do it down here. Now what I'm going to do, just to make sure I can find this center point, is I'm going to project my geometry and project just this tiny line here, which will give me a little point to work from. Okay, this can be quite confusing. Okay, and it does involve, I tend to find, zooming in and out and moving to a point where you're comfortable. Okay, something you'll notice as well is when you're using line tools and things, I can click these in any sort of rotation, but it's always useful turning the plane round to sort of a flat plane, so you know you're not drawing diagonal lines. So what I'm going to do is from that start point, I'm going to get a construction line and just click it so I know I'm in the right place. I know therefore I'm on that exact point that I worked out. I'm now going to move the plane round, so I'm looking at it down, front ways down again, so I don't end up with diagonal lines or lines going off in different planes. Okay, now I'm going to draw just that simple rectangular profile, which is 12 millimeters by 3 millimeters. So I'm going to find the top left hand corner of that rectangle by just putting a couple of construction lines in. So we're going to have one going out 6 millimeters like this, half of 12 obviously, and one moving up 1.5 millimeters like this, and that gives me that top left point. Okay, I just pressed escape there to exit out of the line tool. I'm now going to get my rectangle tool like this and switch to a solid line like so, and then from that starting point just bring my rectangle in, which is going to be my profile there. Going to make it 12 millimeters by 3 millimeters. As I say, that's the measurements that I found for the kind of the width and the height of this part of the handle of the cup. And then I'm going to finish my sketch. Okay, so what we've now got is we've got two components that we need for the sweep. We've got the path there, and we've got the small profile that we're going to sweep along the path. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the sweep tool. So the sweep tool is located up here with the other 3D modeling tools. I'm going to choose sweep like this. And as you can see, it's selected, I believe, my path already for me. Okay, but if you want to do this, you want to make sure it selects things correctly. We're going to start by clicking profile, so that's highlighted like this, and then find the profile that I want to follow on the actual sketch. Sorry, there's my profile just down there. So make sure that's selected. I think it's selected for me. And then secondly, I'm going to choose the path like this that's going to travel along. Okay, so we've selected the profile there, we've selected the path, and it's showing us a preview there of what we can expect to see as our outcome. So I'm just going to click OK. And there we go, we've got our handle drawn in. It's fairly rudimentary at the moment. We're going to tidy this up in the next stage.